And we're just going to jump into it. You ready?
Go.
All right. What is going on, everybody? My name is Zach, and I am back with Man to Mic. Today, I'm joined with Mr. Jeff Richards, and just going to sit down and talk to him for just a little bit. Now, he's an electrician in the local IBEW, just like I am, and amongst many other things. And so I'm just going to let you introduce yourself, and we'll just kind of see where this goes.
Oh, this is the hard part. I hate talking about myself.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm an electrician like you. We went through the apprenticeship together. I mean, really, I hate talking about myself. So
No, I hear you, dude. So how long have you been doing this? Like before you got into school, was you already doing it like for some non-union companies?
19 years in October.
Gotcha. So like straight out of high school?
No, I was actually an operator by trade, and contractor that's no longer in business hired me to dig, and they sent me through school. That way, when I wasn't digging, I was a viable option. And
Yeah.
they could keep me around, and I got to where I liked it. And
Yeah.
here we are 19 years later.
For sure. So like what's your role where you're at right now?
I'm just on my tools.
That's all right. That's all right. There's nothing wrong with just going in every day because sometimes it's just not worth the hassle.
It's not.
Yeah.
And it's not worth not leaving work at work when I leave. Like right now, 2:30 rolls around, bye.
Yeah.
Before it was take it home with you, eat
Yeah.
it through the weekend, and yeah. I'm back on my tools. I like it.
It's not worth it, man. It's really not. So what was the reason that you went into electrical?
That reason right there, they sent me to school, and I got to where I
Gotcha.
really liked it.
Oh, I got you. So what was it that you maybe wanted to do before then? Was there anything else that you were kind of working toward before then? So nothing that you just really wanted to do?
Just kind of bouncing.
Bro, that's all. I mean, I've never just had a plan. I'm just out here winging it.
One day at a time.
That's it, dude. So where did you grow up?
Here,
Yeah? Like, where'd you go to school at?
Clinton.
Gotcha. So what part of Clinton did you grow up in?
Claxton area.
Oh, I got you. So not far from here.
No,
Very good. Very good. Brothers and sisters?
one.
Gotcha. So what was it kind of like growing up, man?
You know, typical average childhood, I guess.
Everybody says that, dude.
Yeah,
and it's
but,
crazy
I mean-
because you never know how messed up it really is. I'm not saying yours is.
No, it is, but I mean, it's one of those ones. Do you just throw it all out there to begin with, or did you kind of ease into
No,
it?
dude, I totally get it.
Mom and Dad stayed married. They're still married now, but it's a very confrontational
Yeah.
childhood marriage growing up. A lot of just
Yeah. Just
So-
constantly on edge. So
Yes.
as a kid, you were just kind of constantly on edge.
I still am to this day.
Yeah, it's crazy how that affects us so much, man, as we get older. But you said they're still married today.
Yep.
Very good. Still kind of the same
Yep.
scenario.
I can only do it in little bits at a time.
No, I totally get that, man. I totally get that because sometimes it's just not worth our own misery, man. Like if people don't change, like even though it's family, like I'm in a spot where I'm dealing with that right now, and like a family member that I'm just having to kind of be done with. And, you know, and it's tough, man. And I'll just kind of talk about that because I feel like it's important and I've been dealing with it. So I should probably talk about it real quick. And so, like this Christmas, this is the first Christmas since I was probably 16 that I haven't talked to Dad. And like we haven't talked in several months, kind of had a falling out. We have this, it's pretty typical. There's a falling out every like 5 or 6 months.
Right.
And then we'll be done with each other for a little while. I'm usually the one that just shuts everything down because it just gets ridiculous. And then, so this year was like the first year that I didn't hear from him and I didn't message him. And I was really at peace with it. I didn't really even think anything about it, if I'm being honest, because I was really busy with my own family, my own kids and stuff. But then my birthday was 2 days after that. And like he posts this like the full happy birthday song on my like topped out. And knowing him, like other people would see it as really innocent, but like it's really
It was a
petty.
stab.
It's petty. And so I didn't respond. And honestly, I thought I was blocked on Facebook, if I'm being real honest with you. Because if I post anything and it contradicts what he believes and his religious views are, he cannot help but like make comments and
Right.
stuff. So I'm just like, I'm done, bro. But anyway, so on my birthday, so I didn't respond to him on Facebook, and then like that night he copied and pasted the same thing in a text message and sent it to me. And I'm just like, bro, just stop.
Just
man.
give it up.
And so I didn't respond. And then New Year's Eve, he texted me again that just said, Happy New Year. I love you so much. And I'm just like, bro, like these little and it seems crazy because if I just talk to people about that don't know or that superficially know him, they're like, I don't see the problem here. But like if you knew the manipulation of it all. And so finally on New Year's, I texted him and I was like, until you're ready to have a conversation and take responsibility for your actions ever, I have nothing else to say. Like, I'm not going to respond to you until you're like, hey, let's have an honest conversation.
Right.
It's not worth my time anymore.
See, that never happened on my end.
Gotcha.
It'd be one of those ones they'd never own up to it. So
Yeah, well, he's not ever going to own up to it.
Right.
You know, it's just like, and I know that. And so, you know, so that's something I've been dealing with here lately. So I was really kind of quiet a little bit, like over Christmas and stuff. Like, I don't know, because I was really in my head about that. So, but it's just not worth the misery of it, dude.
no.
So, but yeah, man. So what else is kind of going on? What's the struggle? I know we're all struggling with some things, but
Oh Lord, the last 4 or 5 months has just been a struggle in itself.
yeah.
From the divorce to 7 days in Peninsula to
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. So when did that happen?
Mid-October.
Yeah. So not long after. Yeah. So you want to talk about it or like
My anxiety just got the better of me.
Yeah.
Like I went 5 days without eating. I went 3 days with absolutely no sleep, and I could not shut my brain off.
Yeah, dude.
And so I got to the point I put a 9mm in my mouth and pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
And that is a deafening sound when it went click.
Yeah. Oh God. That would be dude. Oh God. Definitely going to have to put the phone number. I'm putting the phone number up on there.
Yes.
Phone number's going up. It will be there.
And use it. Don't go that route. Trust me.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, like, what kind of got you to that point? What kind of just built up there? What was?
I couldn't shut my brain off.
Yeah. So I know the divorce is kind of. How long were y'all together?
It would have been 10 years, October 21st.
Gosh, that's tough. Did y'all have kids together?
We've got one.
We got one. Yeah.
Honestly, that was just the straw that broke the camel's back. The anxiety and the depression, it stems from growing up.
Yeah.
Never having a place to voice your opinion or your feelings or anything like that. That's kind of where that stems from. And it's just, you learn to compartmentalize at a young age, and eventually you run out of compartments.
Yeah, and then it overflows, and it's not good for anybody around you. It's really not. So when you were a kid, so did you always struggle with was it anxiety and depression, or just kind of one or the other, and the other kind of came later, or?
Honestly, it's still kind of working through that through therapy.
Yeah.
I feel like it was more the anxiety led to the depression.
Gotcha.
Because I was always on edge. It was always fight or flight mode. For years I've lived on 3 to 4 hours worth of sleep a night.
Yeah. See, all the way up until probably in the last year and a half, I've been like that. And I'm finally at a place, I guess, maybe of some serenity finally, of like just...
I'll just say the first 2 nights in Peninsula, that was the best sleep I've had in 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think it was, that you just crashed out, or did you just kind of feel safe for a change or something? Yeah. Yeah. That'd be
like I could just go in my room and lay down, and as soon as my head hit the pillow, I was gone.
Yeah. 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 That's, man... I guess just knowing that there's some people there that can help or that care, or because like I compartmentalized a lot when I was a kid, and I still struggle with compartmentalizing and that's why I'm doing this, is because this is not comfortable for me.
Right.
And there's and I'm realizing that like there's a lot of hard conversations that I'm going to have on these episodes that in a way is going to probably expose some people that I love around me a little bit, but I have to share my experiences that I've been through. Like, this is the platform to do it. And I have to be able to just do, because, sometimes stuff's just a little fucked up. And it's okay to acknowledge that stuff's just a little fucked up. And that, like when you were saying about childhood, like, oh, it was a pretty good childhood. And it's like, no, let's like kind of dig into that a little bit.
I mean,
because I hear some guys that say, oh, yeah, it was pretty good. And I used to do that. I did that. My wife now is the one that has got me to step past that and to be able to really take an honest look at what it was, because it's the only way that I'm able to learn more about myself and why I do the things that do. And if I need to fix something about myself, I got to find the core reasons of why these things are happening. Why do I act the way that I do? And so when I was a kid, it was very confrontational. My parents were divorced. They divorced when I was before I was 2. My stepdad has been there ever since. Him and my mom are still together now. But when I was growing up, when I was like 9 years old, we lived in a house that was haunted. Let me just preface that. And so I've talked about it on here before.
I was going to say, I think I've seen that episode.
Yeah. So I won't dive too much into it, but it legit was. And I mean, it was like one of those haunted movies where dad loves the house and like the next thing you know, the whole family's hanging from trees in the backyard, because something possessed everybody.
Right.
And so it was really like that. And so when I was 9, I was at a spot where I had been sleeping on a couch for a long time because I would not sleep in my room because a lot of the activity happened in my room or around my room. And so it got to a spot where I told my dad, because he had me every other weekend, and he was taking me home one Sunday night. And I looked at him and I was like, if you take me home, I'll run away. I'm not going back to that house. I was done with that house. And from that, this big custody battle started. And because my mom let me go, and then it started this big custody battle. And everything shifted. And so this is one of those uncomfortable conversations that I'm having to have because it's about my childhood and it's uncomfortable to talk about. But when that happened, my mom got a lot colder to me for the rest of the time after the rest of the childhood. It wasn't the same. She was from what I remember before I was 9, she was this very warm and loving and then that happened and it made her cold and it made her bitter because she can't stand my dad. And then my dad does it to himself. Right. He's always making jabs and digs 30-something years later. It's ridiculous. And so he hasn't helped himself, but it's always caused some tension between me and her, I guess, because
you chose him over her?
Well, it's not even that. I'm his child, and there's parts of me that sometimes he comes out in me, and if she sees it, I can tell it messes with her hard. But sometimes it's just who I am. It's just how I respond to things and stuff. And I guess even some of my mannerisms, she just dislikes him so much that even if I have a mannerism that's like him,
it's kind of the same as his little jabs and everybody else.
Yeah, and so, but it's just, so it caused a lot of conflict, and so it was this really long, drawn-out custody battle, and at that point, there was nobody for me to talk to. They kept sending me to therapists. Courts kept ordering me to go to therapists and psychiatrists and stuff like that, but I'm not going to talk to them.
Well, I mean, at that age, you have a hard time expressing your feelings anyway, let alone if you're in a bunch of turmoil and stuff like that, you definitely can't express it. So they're just going to throw medicine at it.
For sure. Exactly. It's exactly what they did, too. And so it was just because my mom was always totally convinced that my dad had bribed me or talked me into it just to do it. Just
instead of just listening to you.
Instead of me being no, this house is fucked up. And I'm terrified to be here.
Right.
It was that, plus it was just if I was upstairs, the house was over 100 years old. There was no central heat upstairs or anything like that. So it was, really cold in the winter. Summer was hot as hell. There was a box fan, but not an AC unit, just a box fan in the window. And there's always wasp nests up there everywhere. I don't know. It was just just an old ass house, And so I just didn't want to be there. It had nothing to do with not wanting to be around my mom or my stepdad or anything like that. Everything was great as far as they were concerned. At that time, it was where, they were the people you wanted to be around. I would go to my dad's and I would come back home on Sunday night and the whole baseball team's over hanging out at the pool with my stepdad and mom, just waiting on me to get back, because they were the place to be.
Right.
They were so much fun to be around. And then all that happened, man, and it just changed everything. And so, and then I get guilt, still from time to time over it, little jabs of guilt, oh, you did this.
It's let it go. Be like Elsa, let it go.
Let it go. Yeah, man. And so, I went through that from like the age of 9 to 11, like that whole custody battle thing. And then at 13, my stepmom that I had had since a pretty young age, just deuces, see ya, like out of nowhere. And it messed with me. And because I had an older stepbrother, and so when I moved over there, that was also another appeal for me, because who doesn't want to be around their older brother?
Right.
I had a younger brother, but you don't want to be around your younger brother. You want to be around your older brother. And so it was nothing against my younger brother. Obviously, we were just kids. But like when she went through this divorce, or when she left, it messed with me so hard. She affected me in relationships forever. And the reason is because her and my dad had gotten married. They got divorced after like a year or two. They got back together and got remarried again. And then they were married for like 11 or 12 years. Well, when they got back together the second time, she told my grandparents, I'm only staying until Brandon turns 18.
She meant it too.
Dude, it was like 2 months before he turned 18. And she's like, see ya, I'm out. And dude, that fucked with my head.
Oh, I bet.
Forever. That a woman could play the long game. Not to say that a man can't either, but in my experience, in that moment, a woman can play that long a game with you. And like it totally just messed with me always, man.
That's like some straight up killer manipulation.
Yeah, dude. It was crazy. And I just remember like she was like leaving and packing her stuff and walking through the house, just singing happy songs. And I'm like crushed right now.
Damn it, boy.
And, looking back, like thinking back on it, I had learned to compartmentalize so well from the custody situation from just a couple of years before and not having anybody to talk to, that's all I did. And that was just the natural thing. And is what's crazy now is when I think back on that time, I was 13. So I was middle school, about to go into high school, something like that.
7th, 8th grade, somewhere in there.
I don't remember talking to anybody at school. I don't remember having, because I never just had a set of friends, just one set of friends. I was just kind of alone, or maybe I was always afraid of getting close to people because maybe I didn't want people to know that this is just, I don't know, because I always thought it was just me. Like when I was growing up, I felt like I was a lot of the issues in all of those situations and stuff.
Right.
And so, but like looking back, man, I didn't have anybody to talk to or that I felt safe enough. Like I had my mama, but like I don't know, man, it just,
Yeah, but having that, you feel like at the same time they're just going to tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Because you're the grandkids.
Yeah. Yeah, and
even then, you don't want to tell everything because you're afraid they're going to go back to your parents, and then it's going to be like even worse because now the secret's out.
Yeah, man. So I started developing those trust issues at a pretty young age there. But yeah, when you was talking about compartmentalizing as a kid, do you remember like if you were looking back at being a kid, if there was any like maybe coping mechanisms that you? Football was your coping mechanism?
That's how I got the anger out.
Yeah, I get that. So did you start playing at a pretty young age?
5.
At 5. Gotcha. And is that pretty much the only sport that you played?
No, Lord, no. I played baseball 2 years, basketball up until middle school, soccer a couple of years. Pretty much if it was a sport, I was playing it just to get the hell out of the house.
Yeah, gotcha. So how were they very active? In the sports? Like
Mom was, Dad wasn't. Gotcha. I can count on one hand the number of times Dad ever came to watch me play.
Gotcha. And then what did your parents do for like a living?
They're retired.
Gotcha. Well, what did they do?
Dad was a superintendent for Johnson and Gallion for 25 years.
Gotcha.
And then Mom just worked odd and end jobs.
Yeah. Yeah, that would make you tough, though, Johnson and Gallion for that long.
Yeah, right.
It'd be a lot of crap to deal with from time to time, I would say. I guess just Daddy kind of being in that would have been a natural direction for construction work, I guess. Is that kind of where it was? Like, this is what Dad does, so, like, I'm going to kind of... And what it was for me, I mean, my dad's been in the IBW for 30 years now.
I like being outside.
Yeah.
I don't like being in a building.
Gotcha.
So running equipment for me was you're always outside no matter what.
Yeah.
So, mostly for electrical work, I mean, I was at Progression for almost 5 years.
Gosh, that would suck.
Yes and no. I had a lot of freedom.
Yeah.
Kind of like
Freedom's beautiful.
Yes. And it paid the bills, but I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, I ain't going back. Wouldn't go back.
No.
But yeah, being outside was kind of where it led to me. That way, I like being outside.
Yeah.
I like sunshine.
Gotcha. So what do you like? What do you like to do now? Like what kind of hobbies and stuff?
Shit, I don't have no hobbies.
Right.
I've been married twice and 4 kids. I don't have no hobbies.
Right. It was crazy because, like, do you even know what you like to do?
Anymore? No.
Dude, that's a crazy thing, man. I remember when me and my wife got together and she asked me, she's like, what do you like to do? Work?
Work, eat dinner, go back to work. I mean,
She's like, no, there's got to be something that you just want to do. And I'm like, and there wasn't. And to me, like looking back, that's such a profound thing because, man, there is so much to do in life.
there is.
And I'm just like, I don't know. I'm pretty.
Unfortunately, though, it all centers around work.
It does. It does. You got to get those things. You got to work to get those things,
Yep.
I suppose. So, I mean, what is it that you're going to have to find some hobbies, man.
Well, like I said, I got a kayak, so
Oh, yeah.
we're going to start with fishing this year.
Yeah.
And see where that leads.
Has that something that you've been into before? Or
Yeah.
anything?
Back before kids, I used to go trout fishing all the time. So
Gotcha.
we'll give that a shot this year and see how that works.
Trout fishing's so fun. Like, I don't fish very often. It's super rare. I did.
Says the man with a creek full of fish.
You
behind
know
his
what
house.
I'm saying? It's crazy. Like when I was a kid, we went fishing a decent amount and stuff. But I think one of the most peaceful times, the most serene moment of my whole life, I was in the Caney River, and we did the whole canoe down the Caney. And when we got down to the end, my ex-father-in-law had brought some rods, some fly fishing. And I remember we went out there, and my knees hurt from time to time. And I remember standing out in that water, man, and it was like so cool. And like it felt so good on my knees. And I just remember like, man, this feels so good. And I'm sitting there and I'm just sitting there chilling. It's so quiet. You hear the water, and then this fog starts rolling down the river to you. Oh, dude, it was just so peaceful, man. I could definitely get behind doing that some more. The problem is I can't slow down enough to do that.
Right.
And so I got to figure that out, man.
Oh, well, the kids won't be little forever.
They won't. Well, it's not like I can't do stuff now. I mean, the youngest one's 7 or 6. The youngest one's 6. And so it's not like we can't. There's just so many of them, and I'm outnumbered now, So, yeah, I don't know where we're going to go. I can cut this out and then piece this back in.
Where you want to go?
We go wherever you want, wherever you're comfortable with going.
I'm an open book, brother.
What do you want to talk about?
I don't
What are
care.
you struggling with? Let's talk
What
about
do I
some
struggle
struggle.
with?
Yeah.
Anxiety.
I know that, but let's see. I guess what different facets of like anxiety, like
My brain always goes to what if.
ooh.
It's always
So is it this overthinking spiral?
Yeah, like, well, what if I'd have done this or what if I'd have done that? And it's a constant. Luckily, they have medication for that, and the medication works if you take it.
Yeah. What is it? Which
Shit, I'm on like 5.
I got you. See, I've thought about like taking medicine for like ADHD, but like I've danced with it for so long now.
Just do it.
Like I don't know that I want to because I've had several friends that have.
You'll
and,
be a different person.
like it'll help me focus, yes. But dude, being ADHD has like this superpower about it from time to time because you can multitask so many things or do nothing.
Right?
Like I can either multitask 100 different things
Or my brain is off in la la land and the world could be burning down.
doing nothing. And it was funny because I sent my wife a video the other day because I never considered me having ADHD until the last like year and a half or 2.
And you start reading the little things that pop up. If you do this, you might have this.
Bro, and then so I am the world's worst procrastinator. I'm not the world's worst. I'm most ADHD people in procrastination. But it was funny because, like, in order for me to get something done, there has to be a crazy sense of urgency.
Oh, absolutely.
And as soon as the urgency's there, and I'm like, oh shit, like
I calm and go.
I'm done. it's like a functioning beautifully in chaos,
Yep.
man. It's such a cool thing.
Yep.
But it's so frustrating. My wife has to get so frustrated with me because she'd be like, "Have you done this yet? Have you done this yet? Have you done this yet?" I'm like, "I'll get to it. I'll get to it." And then she's like, "This is due like
2
now."
hours from now.
Yeah, and I'm like, "Oh, not a problem," you know.
Yep.
And so it's just So I don't know. I don't know if I would want to. I don't know. Because I like to think. I love to just sit and think.
Oh, you can still think.
Okay, but I don't know. My doctor wrote me a prescription
So
for something.
the best thing about it is you can think and you can complete thoughts.
God, sounds terrifying.
I mean, really, because beforehand, like, it was like a squirrel on cocaine.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just like,
Yeah.
and now it's like calm.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's different.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like I said, my doctor wrote me a prescription. I just never went and picked it up. So, and then the appetite also. Does it mess with your appetite any?
No, but I don't need a whole lot anyway.
See, and that's the problem, though. I'm like pretty into like the working out, the bodybuilding, and
Yeah, but see, I just don't eat by nature.
right. But I just want to bulk. Like right now, I'm bulking, and like I need to be able to eat. And from what I hear, it makes it a struggle to eat.
I won't say that it really messed with my appetite that much.
Gotcha.
It's just like I said, I could go. Well, yesterday I had a Whopper from Burger King. That's all I had.
Yeah. Gotcha.
I mean,
well, you're also going through a tough time right now too. That's probably not.
no, it's even when things were normal.
really?
Yeah,
God, I can't do that.
and see where I traveled and where I was on the road so much.
Okay. I guess once you adapt to something for so long, like you do, just kind of get used
Like
to it.
I hate eating out. I hate fast food.
Yeah.
And when you're on the road living in a hotel, I mean, all you got's fast food. So
Yeah, for sure.
you pick and choose. It was nice. When I was in Indiana, the Cracker Barrel was
Yeah.
across the parking lot.
Oh,
So I didn't have to
yeah.
eat fast food. I could go eat actual food.
Oh yeah, we had Cracker Barrel yesterday morning. My son just got a job at Cracker Barrel. My oldest one did. It's his first job. We might have to go over there and hit him up. He's about to start serving.
Right? Throw Dad some extra hash brown casserole on there.
Oh yeah, he'll be bringing that home when he comes over here. He'll bring it home at night. It's already gone though before I can have it.
Right.
But yeah, have you ever been into like working out or anything like that?
I was when I was at Besco.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But something you just don't really care for much anymore. or-
Getting my lazy ass in gear.
Yeah,
That's the hard part.
it is hard, man.
Because, after my heart attack, that was one of the recommendations.
Yeah, I didn't know about that, so let's talk about that. You got all kinds of shit to talk about. Just start talking, bro. I'm just here to listen.
So I was in Connecticut doing a fill-in for one of our other safety managers, and I just got to feeling sick. Mm-hmm. And I'd been in like 5 different airports, and this was right around the time when, coronavirus was real big. So I thought, I've got something. Mm-hmm. So, I was at work the first day, felt all right, just real tired, lethargic. So I stopped at Walgreens on the way back to the hotel and got a couple of tests, took them, negative. And went in the next morning, and I felt drunk. Like I couldn't have walked from here to your camera in a straight line. Like, just felt drunk.
Yeah.
I mean, never had no chest pain or anything like that. Called the superintendent on the job, said, "Hey, I'm here, but I'm not getting out of the car unless you need me to.
Right.
I'm here if you need anything safety-wise. But other than that, don't bother me." I ended up leaving early, going back to the hotel. Sat down on the bed. Couldn't, even with my glasses on, couldn't see the TV. So I went and got in a cold shower, cranked the thermostat down to like 55, however low it'll go in the hotel room. Standing in an ice cold shower, I'm sweating. Like, when you take a shower and you still feel yourself sweat? I was still sweating in an ice cold shower. Get out of the shower, left the water running, sat down on the toilet, ended up puking all over the bathroom. Thank God it was an ADA bathroom, so everything flowed right in the
Right.
Passed out sitting there. I don't know how long. I know it was several hours that I don't remember.
Yeah.
Finally made it to the bed, got comfortable and laid down, passed out. My alarm went off, and I literally just rolled over, sent my boss in Atlanta a text, said, "Hey, I'm going home. Something's not right. Something's wrong." He said, "Just let me know what you're going to do," so on and so forth. And about 9 o'clock rolled around. My wife called me. She said, "Are you not leaving?" Because Life 360 said I was still at the hotel. And I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna get up, get my stuff packed, and I'll call you when I get on the road." Called me back at 11. I was still in the bed. And she said, "I'm not getting off the phone till you either call the ambulance or you get in the car and come home." So I made it from Hartford, Connecticut, back to Knoxville in 12 hours and 17 minutes. I drove.
While having a heart attack?
Didn't know I was having a heart attack. I just thought I was getting sick. And got into the doctor the next week. They done an EKG on me. He said, "Yeah, your heart shows signs of stress." It's like, no shit, something's wrong. And looking back, there was a lot of precursors, like walking-wise, my calf muscles, I couldn't walk. Like my calf muscles would just knot up because they weren't getting the right blood flow. So they sent me for a stress test. Well, needless to say, that went downhill real quick because walking, my calf muscles just knotted up. And then they done an echo with me with contrast, and my heart was only pumping at 25%. So they went in to do a heart cath, and as soon as he injected the dye in it, he was like, "I can't do nothing for you. You're going to have open heart surgery." He said, "You got 7 blockages." Still to this day, they can't tell me where they come from because my cholesterol's perfect.
Yeah. Any like family history of
Dad was 62 before he had his first one, and that was strictly because he'd like to drink and party through the years.
Yeah. And how old were you when this happened?
37.
So how long ago was that?
2 years.
Oh gosh, bro, you've been through the ringer in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So how was that surgery?
Shit. 10 out of 10 wouldn't recommend, Bubba.
Yeah, like don't take a vacation and maybe go get your arteries cleaned out
So
there. Or?
the actual heart surgery went okay.
The recovery's what would have to.
Believe it or not, it wasn't that bad, other than the fact that they botched it, and I ended up 4 of my sternal wires ended up with infection in them. So I spent another month on a wound vac. I'd work Monday through Thursday, go to the hospital Friday morning. They'd put me under, debris it, clean it, put the wound vac back on it, go back to work Monday morning for 4 weeks straight.
Gosh.
It was a fucking adventure.
Yeah. Oh, I'd say so, man. So we're not recommending don't have a heart attack.
If you have a heart attack, just hope they can fix it with a heart cath and they don't have to split you open.
Yeah, so they were able to fix yours with a cath? Oh, they did have to split you open. Gotcha. So, I mean, how many bypasses you have? 3?
4.
4. Gosh. That's about maxed out, ain't it?
That is maxed out.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
How long did that recovery take for you?
It was 6 months before I felt halfway normal. And it was probably, I'd say right at a year before I felt pretty much myself.
Yeah. Gosh, dude. God, you've been through it in the last 2 years, dude.
Yeah.
Man.
Shitty straws.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to have to get you some different straws to work with
Right.
this year, for sure. God, that's just a lot to handle, man. Like, I can see how the mental health kind of starts taking a toll after a little while there, man. So, like, I know that, you kind of started going through your split in, you said, September?
Yeah.
And so you're not even, like, in the process, though, yet.
No.
God, it's a rough process. Are you making progress to getting to that point? Or
No.
No progress at all?
No communication unless it involves a little one.
Gotcha. So nobody's attempted to file yet? It's tough, dude. I know. It's so tough.
It sucks. Especially when I thought everything was on the up and up.
Yeah.
But apparently.
Yeah. Because, 10 years, man, they say that that 10-year mark is
the hardest.
It is. And it is. I mean, because when me and my ex split apart, and like I said, I'm the one that kind of, if I'm being honest, just kind of initiated that. But we were right at that 10-year mark.
That's where we were in my first one. Was at 11.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I don't know what it is about it.
It's almost like the new wears off, but there's nothing else to go on to.
Yeah.
It's almost like you hit just a brick wall.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's just, I don't know any other way to explain it.
No, I get it.
And then you throw kids in the mix, and then you throw work in the mix, and it's a whole lot to battle.
Yeah. How was like the communication with you all? Like looking back now, like should there have been like more communication?
Oh, a lot more.
Because that's where I realized that
and honestly, probably a lot more on me for the simple fact Compartmentalizing.
Yeah.
I might think it, but I don't say it.
Yeah. Because it's easier just to go along with it than to have the confrontational arguments.
Right. And it's easier just to okay, well, it doesn't exist. We're just going to go on over here.
Yeah. See, my problem with that is compartmentalizing in my marriage caused the roles to shift in the home, where she started having more control. I started letting her have more control instead of me being the head of the home and me making the hard decisions and stuff to avoid the argument and the confrontation. It's just like whatever.
And honestly, it was a lot on her when I had my heart surgery, because
Yeah.
I say that, but let's see. They said the average go home time was 7 to 10 days, and I went home in 4.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, yes and no.
Oh.
I probably should have stayed in the hospital, to be blatantly honest. But I was back to working from home on my laptop within 6 days of surgery.
Yeah.
Just because I just wanted to have something to do.
Yeah.
But she had to take on a lot more of the on-roll responsibilities around the house, because I still physically couldn't get up and do anything. Not to mention we were having a pool put in at that point in time, and that was a thorn in my ass.
Right. Just stress added to everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh.
But yeah, communication was probably, I would say, one of the biggest downfalls to it.
I think it's the downfall of every one of them.
And I won't say it was all on me. I think, looking back, she was trying to communicate, but communicating in a style I didn't understand.
Yeah.
Or in a way I didn't understand. And so therefore it's just like completely misses it.
Gotcha. So kind of different love languages and how you express things and stuff. Yeah, I get that. Which also, though, is why it's fundamentally so important for us to be communicating, so they understand our personalities and who we are and why we act the way that we act and why we respond. Like, that's just something that I'm realizing now, like not investing the time to know about the spouse was a huge issue for me. And like because for like me and my ex-wife, we were in addiction together. We actually met in rehab. We got together afterward, but we were already off to the races at that point.
Right.
And neither one of us had just like a really solid example of what home life should be as kids. And we've been addicts our whole adult life. And so when we first got together and got sober back in 2012, it was, 2 addicts.
That was about the time we met.
Yeah. Yeah, it had to be not long after that. I started working at Besco in 2014, in July 2014, because I managed the gym for the first 2 years of in Fountain City. But there we are, like 2 addicts, really messed up backgrounds, trying to be normal. Like, we got pregnant, we were having a baby, we got married, we were trying to just be normal human beings. But I'm not normal, bro.
Right.
And so it's just crazy. And it's crazy to see like how far I've come and changed in the last 10 or 12 years myself.
Oh, I still can't get in a room with my ex-wife.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, she still drives my blood pressure through the roof.
How long? Oh, you said y'all were married for 11 years?
Yeah.
And you all have one? Oh, you got 3 together. Oh, yeah. So is that... So you all just kind of avoid each other as much as possible?
Oh, yeah.
Unless it's kids?
Up until... Well, when the kids got cell phones, I had to quit talking to her. I didn't have to communicate with the kids.
At first I was pretty opposed to cell phones for the kids, but it does have some advantages.
Yes, it does.
And that is one of them, I feel like. And it just... Because they don't want to hear from you. Like, the ex doesn't want to hear my voice. I don't like... it's just like... It doesn't make anything better, And so, fortunately, I'm civil, like with both of my ex-wives. We're civil. And like my first ex-wife, man, we were only married for a pretty short time. I mean, I was young. She got pregnant. I was raised, this is what you do. We tried, know. And I don't even really count that, if I'm being real honest. Like, I think it lasted less than 2 years. And hell, I was in the Army most of that time. I was gone for 14 months of that,
right.
And so, and then once I got back home, my addiction was just to the races, bud. And but yeah. So yeah, dude, that's so tough, man. And so, so you're seeing a therapist and stuff now, though.
Yep, once a week.
Once a week, that's good. I mean, I need to, and I say that all the time. It's finding the time, making the time to.
The good thing, like with mine, like we don't do in person. We do video call, so I can do it driving down the road on the way home from work.
Yeah. It's just making excuses, honestly. I don't know, I was kind of jaded by a therapist, though, if I'm being real honest. Because if you invest, because I was kind of investing a couple of sessions with this guy, and I thought things were going well, and then dude just kind of quit returning my calls. And I'm like, man, maybe I'm just really fucked up. You know?
The good thing about mine is it's not always about working through the problem. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's just an hour window for me to just bitch.
Yeah. Dude,
and just blurt out whatever comes out.
That's what this is. That's exactly what this is. Like, what does a therapist do for you? They listen to you, and they let you work out your own problems, and they might guide it just a little bit.
Right.
But ultimately, they're just letting you talk out your own problems, and they're just there to listen.
Yep.
And so, it's exactly what this is for me. Like, it was funny. When I sit in here and I'm just doing podcasts by myself, which at first I kind of enjoyed doing it, and now after I've been sitting here talking to people, I don't like it as much.
Right.
I'd much rather sit here and talk to other people. But in a way, though, it is so therapeutic. And I can't tell you how many times I've sit here and recorded myself and I'll never post it, ever. It's just I'll reflect back on it, stuff I've said, because as I sit here and start talking, I just start talking things out, and it's kind of nice to have them recorded, and I can just kind of sit there and
right.
just watch them, and it really is like therapy for me. And so, but like that's why guys have to be talking though, because so many of us have had those compartmentalized childhoods.
That's the thing though, the stigma around it is why no guys want to talk about it.
Yeah,
and I was one of the world's worst.
Yeah, I was actually thinking just about the progression of things the other night, and it all makes sense. Like in the scheme of things, in the scheme of history, American history and everything, it all makes sense. I mean, you go for some really, really tough times in the 20s, some really tough times in the 40s that made some really, really hard people that didn't want to hear you bitching in your excuses. About anything. And that included their children. And so then you had those children that got maybe just a little bit softer because they didn't like that dad was just a total asshole. You know what I mean? Because he was probably shell-shocked a little bit and stuff too. And so, but it's just the natural progression of each generation progressively getting just a little bit better, but we're also getting a little bit softer, and we're almost to a breaking point on softness.
Yes.
But through that process, though, is where we get to where guys are able to start talking, though. So we're there, but there's a fine line of where we don't want this to go. Like, we want to be able to have these conversations to build a community of strong men that can make things happen, that can band together if things need to be done or whatever. And I'm not talking about, we're not starting a militia. We might, but we're not.
I mean,
if it happens, it happens. But so, gentlemen, we need some strong men, because you never know these uncertain times. Evidently, according to Tyler Clifton, there's alien wars happening in the sky all the time over Los Angeles. So you never know what might happen. It's crazy. We were doing a podcast, and he told me that the end of the world was going to happen that day. It wasn't his prediction. We were just kind of messing around. It was just kind of funny to think about.
None of us know when that's coming.
No.
The big man upstairs does, but we don't.
Yeah. Are you a very spiritual man?
It's growing on me the older I get.
Yeah. Were you raised like that at all, or?
Yes and no.
Gotcha.
One set of grandparents, I'd go when I spent the night with them. Hit or miss through high school, and then pretty much non-existent up until the last couple of years.
Gotcha. So do you have a place that you go to regularly, or you just kind of check
until the split?
I got you. Boy, that's a tough one too,
yeah.
Man. When you lose your church family, I did that.
I did, but I didn't. Physically, I did, but we still keep in communication.
Yeah.
There's a core group of guys that
yeah.
I really looked up to, and we still communicate and talk. And
yeah.
The pastor is a little bit younger than me, so
gotcha.
Kind of stall in that same age group. So we stay in communication.
Yeah.
Physically getting to go to church, I've not been since September.
It's tough. And
Yeah.
it's tough going back, dude. I'm still struggling. Like we go over here to One Life, but I'm not as consistent. And like for me, it's crazy, man, because 4 or 5 years ago, I was like behind a different pulpit preaching every month or every Sunday almost, and I was going and doing all these things, and then like where I'm at now, and it's so crazy. And it's not all been bad though. Like my spiritual journey's definitely been a weird one and a wild one and a very unorthodox one. And so, but it's one I just struggle with, man. Like praying, I struggle so bad with praying.
Sitting down and doing it every day.
Yeah. And it's not even the fact that we have to just sit down and like have like a specific spot where we do that. Like I can do it just like I sit here and talk to myself. I could literally be having that same conversation with him and having a relationship established.
Right.
But I sit here and talk to myself. And so, I don't know. It's a weird thing. Maybe I need to refocus that. Maybe I need to quit talking to myself and start talking to him.
You talk to yourself, just don't answer.
Yeah, whew, man. Sometimes there are no answers for things I come up with. I don't feel like.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, but the older that I also get, the more that I think when I was younger and I was like preaching and stuff like that, it was like this superficial understanding of like why this needs to be, why this is important. And a lot of it just came because of my, typical traditional Southern Baptist heritage that just really dulls and waters everything down. Yep. And we can make it fit the agenda, so no worries. And so that really affected me a lot. And so like the way that I see scripture and stuff now is from a much more mature and I think more biblically centered view, even though I'm just a bit like unorthodox. And
well, I think the older we get, we read it more to understand it than to just repeat it.
Yeah. Because there is like, you can't deny, like, I don't care what religion that you were with. If you took the time to just read the words of Jesus, you have to consider these are some solid words of wisdom. Even if you don't agree with what he was and who he says that he was or what he did, you can't help but read the words.
The application's still there.
Pretty much every religion that would honestly take a look at it will agree that the man was really smart. And so, but like the older that I get too, and like dealing with my kids and raising my kids, and I find myself seeing the importance of going to that book for help and guidance and suggestions and stuff. And so there's more of a need I'm realizing, but there's also more of kickback I'm noticing too, where like the will to do it is less, but the knowing that I need to do it is very great. And it's the struggle of the flesh, man. And, I'm losing right now. I'm losing bad.
Yep.
And he's been so good to me. Like he's been so merciful and so gracious.
I mean, like we were talking earlier, that's the only reason I'm still here.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Because that is the only weapon I've ever had, not fire.
Yeah.
I'm very meticulous with them.
Yeah. So like right after that happened, did you just like what was happening? What was going on at that point? Because
it was a relief.
Well, I'm sure.
And it was anger. It was relief that it didn't and angry that it didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, what was the first thing that you did just kind of right after that?
I just kind of sat there.
Yeah. Yeah. Where was you at?
Boat ramp on Peach Orchard.
Gotcha.
Thought if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it somewhere peaceful.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, I guess so.
I had sent my wife a text letting her know where she could send EMS to get my body. I mean, I went to that route. And Sheriff's Department showed up, took me into custody, took me to Methodist, where I spent 4 days. Very long 4 days. 2 of those I didn't eat because they didn't bring me any food.
Mm.
Yeah, and then they transferred me to Peninsula, which has very good food.
Yeah.
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 So, but, I mean, it was, looking back, there were so many other avenues I could have took, but at the time, that was, I guess you could say, the easy route.
Mm.
Although I will say, no matter what anybody says, it takes a lot of balls to do that.
For sure.
I mean, yeah, it's an easy way out, but getting to the point where you can physically squeeze the trigger is.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
I couldn't do it. I couldn't, and I've been in some dark places, and the thoughts crossed my mind, but I'm too much of a coward. Like, I can't.
It takes a lot to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess in 2 years you've went through quite a bit, for sure. For sure. So what's your support system like now? Did you have a support system before that?
No, not really.
Gotcha. So in the marriage, had you kind of just isolated yourself from other people, like from having like solid like friendships or outside?
Man, I've never really been much on solid friendships.
Same.
I mean, we have work friends.
Yeah, exactly.
But outside of work, I mean, not really.
Yeah.
Because we all either have kids, don't have kids, married, not married, and it's hard to find
It is
the
man.
balance to find time to do anything with anybody. So you just you get work friends and
trust me, I get it, dude. And it's so hard, and like that's where I'm kind of struggling right now with this is, you know, like with the whole podcast and stuff, is like I'm already so busy, like with the family, work, photography, just everything else. And then there's this, and trying to put out 2 videos a week and everything. And it's a lot. And so the conundrum that I'm kind of getting myself into, I'm noticing, is like in the men's group that we've got, is like I'm making some solid connections with some guys in there. And there's some cool things that are happening in there. But it's like, I don't want people to see me as like the focal point of this thing.
Of the group.
Like, I'm just a mediator. I'm here to facilitate and bring some guys together that have similar struggles. And I think a couple people kind of take it personal sometimes when they're like, hey man, you want to hang out? And I'm like, bro, I got a lot going on right now. And because like you said, it's just life is busy, and I've already taken on so much, and I have a core group of people that I do keep in close contact with, but like I feel bad because I can't take the time for every person.
right.
You know?
Well, I mean, we've been trying to get together and do this for
I'm
how long
telling
now?
you, dude? It's so hard, man. And like schedules, like, well, Tuesday, man, my schedule just changes from time to time. And then, or the kids will get sick, and I'll have to go get one of them, because when there's 7 of them, it could be sick anytime.
Right.
You know?
And when one gets it, they all get it.
Yeah, it's like dominoes. You can't quarantine them all. So, you know, we all just get together in one room when one person gets sick, and we just make sure we just fight it all out together.
Just get it over and
Just
done
get
with.
it done. We'll lock ourselves into a little small room for a night and just everybody cough on each other.
Right.
Build up them healthy immune systems. But yeah, dude. So what's your plan right now? What are you trying to do? I guess just make it through another day.
Day by day.
Man. But so since all this has happened, since you've started going to therapy and stuff, like, have you been able to start having like more of a support system?
Yeah. Of course, I see him once a week. Of course, the kids know about it. Well,
Yeah.
the little one doesn't, but the 3 oldest ones know about it. They keep checking on me now. They'll call once or twice a week and keep checking on it because 2 of them are out of the house. My parents still don't know about it, and I'd like to keep it that way just because,
Yeah.
you know, the past. It's
sure.
like I definitely don't need that.
For sure.
But yeah, it's growing little by little, just day by day.
Yeah.
Really.
What do you think that there was anything that could have been done to, or maybe could have helped you from getting to that spot? Like, even though the situation was as heavy and as much gravity as it has.
Seeking help a hell of a lot sooner.
Yeah. Yeah. So like how long before like you actually made the effort did you had you been struggling like this ever since it happened?
Oh no, for years.
Oh, I got
For
you.
I'd say for the last 5 or 6 years, really.
Gotcha.
Struggling bad with anxiety and depression.
Gotcha.
And of course, nobody wants to be that guy that goes, "Hey, I need help. I'm struggling."
Yeah,
So you push it down,
for sure.
and you push and push and push and push, and eventually it just overflows and you snap.
So what does your depression look like? Because people's depression looks different. Do you just go through like long periods of just like extreme like sadness?
It varies. I've been known to go on a shopping spree.
Okay, I get that.
Like,
do you take it back afterward?
No.
Okay.
I've been known to do that. Ghosting people, like I'll just disappear. Like,
the only time I've struggled with depression in my life was I was terrible with that ghosting. Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I'll disappear. Doesn't matter who you are. Just
I'm not answering.
Yeah. And then there's days that I just don't want to get out of bed.
Yeah.
Like the last 2 days, I fought a migraine, which of course we were all off yesterday, but I got up this morning, my head was still hurting. It was like, fuck it, I ain't going in.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
My bank account is going to be like, asshole, get up, go to work. But it's like, I just wasn't feeling it.
Yeah. I get that, dude.
And that's been the biggest issue with going through therapy and the medications and stuff is realizing when I get to that point and bringing myself back and be like, okay, look, while you're feeling this way, you still have
like obligations
to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, these are non-negotiable. You have to do them.
Yeah. Yeah, but still doing it though, man.
It sucks. I mean, it does suck some days. I mean, and it's not the job I'm on or the crew or anything like that. It's me.
Yeah.
And it's me internally just going, fuck this.
So does the anxiety cause the depression?
At this point, it kind of goes hand in hand.
Okay.
Initially, it was the anxiety, the fight or flight mode. Because my anxiety, ever since I went to Peninsula, has pretty much been low key.
Mm-hmm.
The medication's working great on it. The depression, whereas some days it's a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
So it's time to adjust some medications on that.
Gotcha. So with your anxiety, is it just like in a form of extreme spiraling and overthinking?
Oh, yeah.
So it starts off with just something.
And then it's down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, dude, it's the more people that I talk to that struggle with that. Like my wife struggles with the overthinking anxiety aspect. Jeremy that was on here struggles with that overthinking aspect. And I can see how that's almost crippling because I sit here and watch my wife like start thinking about one thing, and the next thing you know,
you're way the hell over in left field.
It's like this has become like massively huge in your mind, and there's no way to look around it.
You can sit here and be talking to me about something, and I've done thought it through and went down 4 different rabbit holes before you ever finish your sentence of which way it could go and the possibilities of that. It's asinine.
Yeah. And I'm total opposite, polar opposite. Like I literally wing it from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, and I don't overthink anything. I just do. I think a lot, but I don't overthink just situations.
There's no planning to it.
No plan. I don't like to plan for tomorrow. Like that whole biblical principle of like, don't worry about tomorrow because there's enough to worry about today. Like I will figure tomorrow out when it gets here. And it's funny. My wife should be like, well, what do you want to do on this? I'm like, hold on.
When it gets here.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I don't know. and, and so it's just, I don't know. But yeah, I literally just wing it constantly. And like I said, it's probably really frustrating for her.
Probably.
She shows me a lot of grace.
But see, in the same aspect, I don't plan a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like when we go on vacations and stuff, it's like, okay, well, we're going here. What are we going to do? I don't know. We'll figure it out when we get there.
Yeah.
Well, what are we going to eat? I don't know. Figure it out when we get there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do the whole spiral thinking.
Yeah. She doesn't do extreme over planning. It's not like over planning or anything.
No, it's just scenarios.
Yeah, just scenarios. Well, what if we get here and this happens? Yep. What if we get here and there's a tsunami? You never know.
Right.
Aliens are in the sky over LA. But anyway, well, yeah, dude, I would love to see, I don't know, man. I just want to see you have some period of time where you can just relax and rest some.
Maybe one day.
Yeah, like you'll definitely get there, but I know it's going to be some time and it's going to be a struggle, dude.
One day at a time.
Yeah, but you got this. Like, you'll get there.
One day at a time.
That's it, dude. Man, I appreciate you stopping by and just sitting and kicking with me for a while and just being honest and just talking about some stuff, because it's got to happen more.
Oh, absolutely.
It's got to happen more. And so, gentlemen, inside the men's group, if you're not in there, it's Man to Mike, the Gentleman's Corner. Find us and look us up and shoot us an invite. We'd love to have you. There's a lot of guys in there that's got a lot to offer. A lot of guys going through a lot of things in there, and it's just a safe place for gentlemen just to sit and talk about it and it be okay. It is our He-Man Woman Hater Club. There is no women allowed. Spanky from the Little Rascals is our mascot, and it's a cool thing. I'm just kidding. I just made all that up. But anyway, gentlemen, I love you all, and I appreciate you stopping by and just humoring me for a little bit and listening to us. And tell your people that you love them. If you don't have people, find people, and then tell those people that you love them. Until next time, I'm Zach. This is Man to Mike, and I am out. See you.